Let's talk herd. Yeah, because I feel like that inner journey with the horses is so powerful. And like whenever I'm right in that, I just can't imagine not being.
Yeah. Like now there's nothing I'd rather do than be just laying on the ground
Yeah.
with horses
Yeah.
all around me and and really drinking in
Yeah.
that energy. It's like sunbathing or, you know, being on an air mattress in the
Yeah.
sea.
And like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it has a totally different
Yeah,
energy than,
aligning.
yeah,
Something about
directing it.
aligning with that wisdom that they just
Yeah,
they just flow through them. Yeah, that they're just
yeah.
kind of, they just absorb and they flow it. Yeah.
There was some. I think this is linked. When girl was around, let me see. I think she was about 29. I got the vet to come and do bloods and labs and things to determine if she had PPID, and uh, and the blood showed that she had some kidney
Okay.
failure, or I don't know if they could really determine the level of it, but it's kidney failure is it's pretty terminal,
Mm.
or it can be. Um, in So I just presumed that in a few months her body
Mm.
would die because once the kidneys fail, the body dies. And I think that was in the fall, and her tests for PPID were twice negative. But we decided to start giving her Percent anyway, just a quarter tab or something. And I think it was a few months later in the spring, like for the first time ever, she just walked up to me and put her head, like walked up to me and put her head right here. And I thought, oh boy, I'm getting a talking to or something. Like I better just stand here, and, you
Yeah.
know. So it was like, and I was like, for my body, standing or sitting is like it's the pain is incredible to have to stand still because of the injuries that my spine's had. So I stood there and I was just in excruciating pain, but I made myself stand there like I can't leave because she's downloading
Wow.
stuff,
Yeah.
Um, and then I think that my takeaway from that was like, oh, she's not dying. Okay. So she's not going to die.
Mm.
Okay, well, that's great. And
Yeah.
that's kind of all I knew, is that I'm not
Yeah.
dying now.
She
Not
didn't
now
want you
anyway.
to sort of project that
And
onto her. Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And my lovely friend, her name's Lauren Keegan. She was local to my area, and she is a healer. And her her business is called Healing Roots. So I asked Lauren if she would come over and like help me with healing session or
Yeah.
interpretation session, so that I like to reassure me that you know I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
getting the right message here. And she agreed with my interpretation that, yeah, she's not dying right now. So she ended up living another uh 4 years
Wow.
or so
That's
after that.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's incredible, isn't it? They're,
yeah,
it's like, I don't think the body and the sort of spirit are always, it doesn't always make sense. Like sometimes bodies that you think there's no way that they should be alive, they're just fine and they go on for
yeah,
ages. And like vice
yeah,
versa. It's so
yeah.
amazing. I suppose that's why people can have near death experiences and things. It's not really,
Mm-hmm.
it's not physical, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling about this latest, this funny dream that I had to someone on a podcast recently with, where my cat was carrying me. And then I was like on a horse's, and then I was kind of on her back. And then it got out of control and I hadn't really understood what it was about. And then I realized that it seems so obvious what they were sort of showing me, because I felt like it was all the animals, it's just like almost like a sort of process where, they're teaching me. I don't really like that word, but um so yeah, the message was this message that that's how I need to ride, for want of a better word, the horse. That's how I need to be when I'm on her back, as if she was carrying me, like the cat was, like the cat carries the baby. And that was how it was. Like that was why, that was the sense that, so
Wow.
like, that means you need to be completely trusting, obviously. And that was what I felt when she was doing that. I felt like, obviously, you feel totally, held, taken care of. And I could feel when she was moving to different places, I could feel what she was going to do and how she was being careful with me when she took me around the doorways and stuff like that. So it's like that on a, it's like that's what
Wow.
you have to, that's what they're telling me. That's the attitude or the energy to bring onto the horse, like that. I'm held. And I'd been doing this I just call it a meditation, but it just came into my mind, practicing these two different ideas of, one is like, I am your child, and one is, I am your mother, because they're like kind of two ends of the spectrum. And
Mm.
I realized it's that I am your child one. That's the one that, like, and so I was just standing there with Karamba one day, and I was like really feeling that, like going into that relationship with her. And I just got this really strong sense from her. I'm a child too. And like we were childs together, like we were both children. And then I just, like, it's sort of like, wow, yeah,
Mm.
of course. Because we're children in source, aren't we? Like in God or
Yeah.
in nature or whatever you want to. So it was like, that was like another step forward in the process. Like that the horse, like, maybe no, maybe you don't need a leader at all, because we're both children of the universe. I mean, I know that can sound really
Yeah.
sort of silly, but it feels so.
Yeah. Then it's a consensual, um, choiceful
Mm,
relationship, right? Like being dance partners,
yeah,
right? Like each one is a full partnership, and each one can so subtly, ask and
yeah,
influence, the movement or direction, or
yeah,
feeling, or whatever it happens
yeah.
to be.
And
Yeah.
I suppose,
That really, my relationship with girl really felt like that. Like I always felt like I'm inadequate. I don't know anything.
yeah, like,
She's the one that
yeah,
has all the wisdom, and I'm just this stupid human.
yeah. Did you have like another side of yourself where, like, that switched, where, like, more when you were riding, or where you were more the leader, or was it?
Well, only in that I knew the numbers of the jumps. You know,
Yeah,
like I knew which jump came
yeah,
next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like she seemed to really love jumping, and the courses and the jumps and the
Mm.
stadium jumping and the cross country. Like she was just like, and she would actually, um, her nickname was the Vampire Dyke from Hell. She would literally, she had this really deep, coarse kind of whinny, and
Oh
she
my
would just
God.
like practically scream her way around the whole
Really?
cross country course, and like, you could see her like looking for the
Wow.
jumps, and
Oh my God.
it was really amazing to ride a horse
Yeah.
like that. And she's like, "Don't touch me! Don't tell me what to do! I've done, yeah, I've got this."
Wow.
Like, okay, we're going. That one's next. Okay, got it. Shut up now. It was really funny. So different than other horses I've ridden. That kind of, they're so easy about, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want me to, okay, couple of inches off this stride, or you know add 6 inches to that stride. Yep, no problem. Right.
Yeah.
Totally different
It's
experience.
amazing how they're all so.
But I really did, in all my whole relationship with her was like, I felt like the
Mm.
child, or I felt like the one that was, the
Yeah.
student. Yeah, more like, yeah, probably more like the
Yeah.
student and the intern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that she was, yeah, instructing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you ride anymore now?
I haven't ridden since May of this year, and I the horse that I had, um she has a new home now with this, perfect person for
Mm.
her. And uh yeah, my relationship with that mare was, quite, uh, a huge, transformational learning
Mm.
experience for me, being with her. And she had lots of, stuff going on that I wasn't able to, unearth or
Mm.
understand, but just hold space for. Um, and yeah, so I um, could never actually really. Well, yeah, long story, but I won't get into it. But since since Girl, um, died, I haven't had like a developmental competitive, type
Mm.
relationship with a horse since. So yeah, it's been like 5
But would
years or
you
something.
want that again? Like if you had a young horse again,
I
what would
wouldn't
you do
now.
though now
Yeah.
with a horse?
I think I would lay on the ground and and um, learn to listen
Mm.
much
How do
more.
you feel about riding and competition and that whole scene?
Oh, well, it was fun. It was really fun. Um, but it's it was at least in retrospect, it was definitely a
Mm.
phase. And I'm 66 now, and my body is, it's not so functional anymore, and there's just no interest in doing that
Yeah.
anymore.
But when you
Yeah,
say if you
like
watch
I
it with
imagine.
others, look, if you watch
Yeah.
other people doing it, how does it? Do you slot back into your that person that you were when you did it, or do you like apply, or do you kind of come from where you are now? Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, definitely more from where I am now. I actually just took a saddle over to someone to try on their horse
Mm.
yesterday, um, and my heart just burst with compassion for the young girl who's, wanted to try the saddle on, and the horse that she was leasing,
Okay.
this elder Connemara mare, who is, like, from my perspective, so obviously obviously not interested in being
Mm.
ridden. And she, my heart just burst
Mm.
with, with love and awareness for this mare. Um, and the young girl, I think she's only
Oh
12,
wow.
but she's really tall, like 5'8"
Okay.
or something. And she's extremely sensitive. And her mom was telling me, she'd really rather not ride. She would really
Oh
rather just
wow.
hang out. But there's a bit of kind of,
Pressure.
you know, pressure a bit to. But the mom, Ginger, her name is. She was really holding space for the
Mm.
girl to
Wow.
just be
That's
exactly
so
who she
cool.
wants to be. Um, yeah, and I didn't want to get into any kind of
No.
coaching place or teaching or anything like that. I just really empathized with this beautiful young girl and this beautiful elder mare that was just really shut down. And it looked evident to me that her body was in, a fair bit of
Mm.
discomfort. But because it wasn't my place to say anything, but I could hold space in
Mm.
my heart for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I watch, 3-day eventing on the TV, I get really excited
Yeah.
still, Yeah. But
Yeah. Such a funny thing, isn't it,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
It's kind of difficult to, I think it's because there's so many perspectives, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
like the perspectives from different places are so different because you can really understand like where people are and what they're doing when they're deep in it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I think it's the same for horses. I don't think they're all like, able to look at it from a like a perspective of, that it's like an absolute place. Like I think they're where they are too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Explaining it very well, but
And what a thrill to be such creatures of incredible
mm,
movement and
yeah,
power and
exactly. Yeah.
grace, and to be able to use
Yeah.
that, and fly the
Yeah.
way they do over those
Yeah.
huge fences. And you can see them just like, it's
Yeah.
just
The
like the
power is
feeling. It's like,
incredible. It's
yeah,
unbelievable, really.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that people ride as well as they used to? Or do you think that because there's so much more quality in terms of their conformation and everything that people don't have to be so good?
Well, I really just, when I look at most people riding, it's it feels like this skill set has become really dilute.
Mm,
And I don't see the quality of teaching, at least out here in, you know Western
yeah.
Canada. um, it's it's a far cry from, um, the precision and passion uh, of some riders in the
Mm,
world. And, but yet, when I watch the eventers, it's like, wow, there's so many women
yeah.
eventing. And just like there are, women in sports, like the, professional footballers. Oh my gosh, I'm just in
Mm,
awe of the courage and
yeah.
potency and the ability of of especially
Mm,
younger women these
yeah, the
days. Yeah,
athleticism.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
suppose there's just a bit of every. I realized that today on a totally other subject that we have this human thing where we want there to be like one answer. Like, what was it again? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, it was like whether, this whole thing with pit bulls and like whether it's the owner and whether it's the dog and, like if they become aggressive. And I was thinking, well,
Mm,
everything, it can be every possible scenario.
it's
Like you
everything.
could have anything. You could have
Yeah.
a dog that was aggressive and it was nothing to do with their owner. They were a great trainer. The dog was just had that, whatever reason. And you can have all
Yeah.
different scenarios. I mean, why do we always want it to be like we,
Want to
yeah, we
put
want
things
this
in
rule book
boxes.
to be able to
Yeah.
follow, like, it's
Yeah.
like this. And,
Yeah.
but it's a lot more liberating just to kind of, feel that there's everything's possible, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And whatever it is that ignites the spark of life, the spark of, enthusiasm, which really means the in
Mm,
godness, right? So like those sparks, we like as earth beings, we get to experience those sparks, and
yeah,
they're all divine. The spark of love and the spark of light is divine, whether it's something I consider horrible, like motorcycles,
yeah,
uh,
yes,
um, going 1,000 miles an hour and going in and out of cars. I mean, that scares the daylights out of me. But for that person, they're experiencing
yeah,
their
yes,
godness at the moment,
absolutely.
right?
I was thinking that the other day
Yeah.
because I was watching this thing on Netflix about bulls, riding bulls that buck, bull rodeo. And it's like, but
Yeah.
those animals are unbelievable. Like the power, like there was one of them that was jumping like
Yeah.
5 feet in the air, 5 or 6 feet,
Yeah.
like a 2 ton animal or a
Yeah.
ton. I don't know what they weigh, but like unbelievable. Like the way that they could twist around and like, yeah, I don't know. You could say that they're unhappy or whatever, but there's that, what you're talking about in that.
But in the purity of
Yeah.
the purity of just
Yeah.
the movement,
It's
just
phenomenal.
the ability of a
Yeah.
body to move and express
And the
itself like that.
riders.
I mean, the essence of that
Yeah.
and the essence of it is divine. And then we can have opinions about all
Yeah.
kinds of
Like there
things.
was one Brazilian
Yeah.
rider who, before they opened the gate, he would just tune in. And when he was describing it, it was like amazing because he's just said that he would tune in to the way the bull was going to move. And he could just, because when they come out the gate, they're
Wow.
like so fast. They're
Wow.
like left, right, it's just crazy, crazy. I mean, it's all seconds. It happens in seconds. But he just tuned in. And so he just knew, he could just feel what way
Wow.
this animal was going to
Wow.
go. And it's just like unbelievable to watch. Unbelievable. And I think,
Wow.
yeah, I think that whole thing that we have, that whole judgment thing that we have about things is kind of something more of the mind, isn't it? Maybe the less we
Mm-hmm.
have that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
polarization and yeah.
Yeah, because you have to impose on that. Like you have to think thoughts like that's cruel because, and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe it's just about meeting it the way you did that with that mare. Like you could feel her pain and her, like where she was. And you were just, because you could feel that without judging anyone, you just allowed it to be witnessed. And I think that witnessing just allows things to do whatever they need to do. And
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a relief to have that what do you call it? Uh I can't even think of the word, but to be able to have, like, I can pull that out of my pocket. I
Mm,
can be present with this and not project
yeah.
judgments, but the awareness that just holding space and being present with whatever it is arising. Oh my gosh, what an incredible gift that that is becoming more and more
Yeah.
available, to be present with,
Yeah.
and noticing, like, okay, noticing, yep, there's some triggers being
Mm,
triggered, and you know
yeah.
can I be okay with
Yeah.
that? And
I was
yeah,
thinking about that today, like
yeah,
exactly that ability just to meet things as they are. Like not to kind of, what's the word? Think about them beforehand and like I can't even remember like what it was about, but it was just feeling how amazing that would be as well. Because I don't think I'm able to do that all the time, but just to allow things to, like, because I think when we judge things, it's like we create this barrier between like us and the situation, or like it's not really the
yeah,
situation, it's the present moment. So you
yeah,
don't get to experience it and all the potential.
yeah. You don't get to experience the present moment and the
Yeah,
vastness of
yeah,
that moment. Yeah,
because you're,
yeah. And oh my
yeah, and it's
gosh,
like
it's, how many lifetimes does it take to
I know.
to remember
Yeah.
that beautiful way of being that is just, it feels like it's just in its, for me anyway, in its
Totally.
infancy
Yeah,
stages of yeah, being willing to, wow, just let everything
yeah,
just be, like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, yeah,
totally. Just everything.
that's actually worth the price of incarnation. Just right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, so true. It reminds me of when I had this really profound experience the other day. It was during one of Sabina's gatherings, and I just realized, like when I was with the horses, I just kind of realized um, that and it was funny because it was the projecting thing, but it wasn't. I don't know if that even put it into my. It was just that it happened in such a parallel way, but I realized that we we feel like we've projected our own oppression onto horses. So like
Yeah.
and by our own oppression, I mean like how we keep ourselves down because we don't do what we were talking about a minute ago. We don't meet things in the present moment. We judge things, and it's so hard to put it into words, but we just have this perception that's flawed of everything. And that flawed perception, we kind of
Yeah.
just as part, I mean, we've done it in a way we do it with everything, but from because we're in that perception, but we've done it with horses because we've oppressed them. And it sounds very negative, like when you
Yeah.
put it in that way, but I think it's just a seam, through the relationship. It's not everything, but it's a part of the relationship where we have made that, like, not listened to, not being able to give them the space and the trust and the belief that they could
Mhm.
have opinions, and
Mhm.
that. So it's like
Yeah.
I just felt that oppression kind of lifting off the horses and coming back into
Yeah.
me. And it felt very heavy, like,
Wow.
oh my God. And I felt like there was a part of me that had been asleep for a long time, and it was still sleeping, but it
Oh,
was waking
yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
so then then I was feeling like a couple of days later, something I was feeling a bit like impatient with it all, and I was like, just sort of teach me how to do it, like I said to Karamba, and she she was really funny. She came up to the fence thing the way she does, and I got on her, but she turned around. She's not really done this. She turned around and just kind of nibbled my foot, like as if, you really need to get off because this isn't how it is. You've just got to stay with that oppression until it's fine. It's just part of the journey. But you can't push
Oh,
through it like this. Like you can't
wow.
make yourself feel better. And she wasn't threatening. She was just like, come on, you've just got to get off because it's not working this way. This isn't how to do it. So it was like crazy. Yeah. So
Wow.
I just sort of
Wow.
did. And it's still, yeah, I still feel like but it was just in that moment, it felt such a relief because it's a process, and everybody understands it. Like she understands it. That's what she was saying. It's okay just to let it unfold. And, you don't have to do
Mm.
stuff to prove anything or, just, just let it happen.
Oh,
Let yourself wake up, basically. You are waking up and it doesn't have to
yeah.
have a timeline. And
Yeah. 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 You don't have to hurry.
no, well,
But we do
well,
because
I
the world is
know.
falling
And I kind
apart.
of
I've got
think, well, how long is she gonna, like, maybe we're missing our best years if we're actually gonna sort of do anything. And then I think, am I just kidding myself? Like, maybe we never will do anything. Maybe I'll just come to the point where I just give up on all of that because, it becomes okay. It's kind of reminds me of Gabby's situation, and she's, how she is in the chair and everything. And it feels like you could think, if you wanted to come from that negative point of view, you could think, well, eventually you're just going to get used to it, and you're just going to, you know because there's a sort of part of you that feels like you have to fight. Like, and I know I've talked about this with her, that she feels she has to fight to not accept it, because if you accept it, then you're just going to accept it's okay to live like that, and she doesn't want to. And sort of my
Yeah.
parallel with that is that I don't want to just not do this thing that we could do together. This kind of different form of riding. And I think that's the trick of the ego. It makes you think that if you let go and you don't fight, that
Oh,
you're just like
yeah.
giving up. And it's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. When you give up and you trust, you just get taken. And I think that's what we're here to like we're all here to
Yeah.
understand that, just in different ways. We've just got our
Oh, it's such a mystery,
yeah.
isn't it? It's completely nonsensical because the giving up is, uh from that conscious perspective is not actually giving up. It's choosing. It's a choice. So it's paradoxical,
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so important to that that it's not a choice from the patterned mind or from the ego, but it's a choice to become spacious and
Mm,
curious about and then all of these possibilities can arrange themselves or array themselves, and then a choice can be
yeah.
made of so many possibilities, rather than the neurotic self wants to, I have to grab that one, that's the one I want, I
Yes.
have to have that one.
Yeah. It's like willingness, isn't it? I always like to think of it as
Mm,
being receptive, because that feels just so good, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Because when you're receptive, you're not resisting. you're allowing, and that's the whole thing of that
Yeah.
you're being the child again. Like, you don't have to be the leader. And I think that's the thing, that's the big shift, maybe, that we have an opportunity with horses, that we can let go of
Yeah.
that kind of. Because when you think about why we decided that we had to be the leader, I think it was maybe based on like fearful things rather than, anything that the horses really instructed of. I don't think the horses ever told us that they needed a leader.
No, I don't
When you
think so.
think about it. I mean, I know some people think that they do, but I don't really think that's true. What do you, I mean, I don't think that's what girl was saying to anybody.
No, no, not at all. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you connect with her still now that she's left her body? How did that, when she left her body, that happened naturally, didn't it? Like, you went through that.
Yeah, yeah, it did. And I, I'm kind of losing my ability to talk, and I wondered if we could. I'd love to sort of refresh this and
Yeah.
have like do another session about girls deathing, because that's really where
Yeah,
I
of
wanted to get to.
course.
But
That's a
I
great
just
idea. Yeah. I kind of thought that. I thought this is such a long, I
yeah.
was already thinking of a sort of part two.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
feels like the sort
Oh,
of
that's
prelude.
great. Yeah, because there's only
Yeah.
so long you can.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
understanding that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a and
No, absolutely. I can feel it. It's like there's a certain shape to a discussion, and you have to
mhm.
just go with.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely she's very uh her energy, whatever it happens to be, is very much alive. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And I also thank you for being part of while she was dying. You were such a beautiful, aware contributor to being like a participant, really, in her dyingness. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
it was so wonderful for me, like really for the first time in my life, to feel like there were there was you and Sabina and Mary and Mana and Mary Walby
Mm,
that um, were like full participants in for both girl and I, and that really
mm,
it just made all the difference for me as a human being um, to receive your love and support and guidance and
mm.
everything. So I don't know if I've thanked you
Oh,
sufficiently before, but yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing how we're all one spirit in a way, and just, yeah,
Hmm.
it just makes such a difference to feel
Yeah.
that kind of sense of, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I kind of think that's why we experience this separation, because there's something about like the reconnecting again back into one that's
Mm.
really,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just it's so exquisite.